week signed the jobs bill into law. And even at the signing, he even said, we've got to do more. Congressional Black Caucus met with the president. Folks talked about how positive a meeting it was. But the reality is, when it came time for the vote, CBC members said, no thanks. Is this jobs bill signed into law that other folks are touting as being important, is it really going to have a significant impact on the black unemployment numbers, which are absolutely devastating across this country?
Well, the CBC, the majority of members of the CBC recognize that it really wasn't a comprehensive jobs bill. It was more of a business tax credit bill, which is fine. That's one small drop in the bucket. We want, and we told the president, and we voted actually against the rule, the majority of us, and against the bill, because this was not the type of bill that's going to cover the chronically unemployed in terms of creating jobs, job training. We're working right now, and the president, we met with the president. It was a good meeting, substantive meeting. He supports what we're doing. We're working now on a summer youth job amendment, also an expansion of TANF, the emergency fund, for 6 months. You know, young people need to work. Their families are unemployed, their mothers and fathers, and so they have to help put food on the table and pay the rent. So this summer youth jobs initiative, what we're trying to work, the Senate unfortunately killed that a couple of weeks ago. The president's in full support, but of course we have to, as members of Congress, push forth a legislative package. We have a bill, it's H.R. 4812, the Local Jobs for America Act. And this is a bill introduced by Congressman Miller, which I'm a co-sponsor, and many members of the CBC, which would provide the type of comprehensive strategy that we think will work. You have to have workforce training, you have to have training as well as direct job creation and investments in infrastructure.
The president's traveling around the country with healthcare town hall meetings. He's talking about jobs and going to Ohio and Pennsylvania. I've talked to folks who say, look, why don't you go to Altgeld Gardens, which is around the corner from your house, where he was a community organizer, to see, as you talked about, that sure, tax breaks are nice, but here's the reality of where people actually stand. You were a community organizer, and so you understand where people were. And so, you know, I get the whole Ohio, Pennsylvania thing, but it's in black neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods where it is truly devastating when you have mothers and fathers, then the kids can't have a job. Now you have an entire neighborhood that, frankly, no income coming in.
President knows that, and trust me, members of the Congressional Black Caucus every day are working on these issues to address it and to try to make sure that we get bills to the president's desk, and I'm sure he will sign those bills. He told us in the meetings that we've had, and this wasn't the first meeting, that he understands and gets the issue of the chronically unemployed. And in fact, the Joint Economic Committee just put out a report on the Hill. Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney did a phenomenal job showing how in the chronically unemployed populations, the majority are African American and Latino. These are people who have been employed 20 months, 24 months. African American men, for example, since 2007, the unemployment rate has doubled, same as for African American women. And so we have to have targeted approaches and strategies to address specific populations.
Which does not mean this is a jobs bill for black folks. It's a jobs bill for all Americans, but in particular areas, we will target those most in need.
Absolutely, and we've never said we want
some places they might be white.
Sure, we never said we think that a race-based formula should be developed. We're talking about areas of need, areas of high unemployment, and who happens to live in those areas will benefit from the job creation efforts. And so that's a big deal that we're pushing. There's formula that we want the president and the Congress to accept that would do just that.
And I hope folks also understand that whenever I've heard Republicans talk about getting rid of affirmative action programs, they've always said, let's have scholarship programs and admissions programs based upon those in need who are poor, impoverished, whether they're white or black or Hispanic. I guess my point is, fine, have the same policy when it comes to jobs.
Sure. For those in need, for where they're the highest areas of unemployment, we have to have specific targeted approaches. When we help those who are at the bottom of the ladder, we help America. We make America stronger. And that's what we want to do. We are Americans also, and we intend to make sure that any jobs package is comprehensive, leaves no one behind, and that's why the Congressional Black Caucus is adamant in our approach to this whole unemployment crisis. People are desperate. We've got to do more.
And when some say President Obama, not the president of black America, but he is the president of all America, which includes black folks.
Absolutely.